guys, the Determined Gardener here. Let me ask you a question. Are you reaching for this? How about this? This is the perfect season where you're either reaching for these big scissors or your small little shears. For some gardeners, particularly new gardeners, it may be a little confusing to know whether you should deadhead or prune. And what's the difference? And what does it do for your plant anyway? And when should you deadhead? All these questions I am going to answer in this video. I'm going to show you right here on my beautiful hydrangea, my standard hydrangea that I actually made into a tree all by myself. So in this video, I'm going to help you decide whether you should prune or deadhead depending on your gardening needs. So before I demonstrate the simple way, think about it as going to a salon or getting a haircut. When it comes to deadheading, it's a small trim. It's just a trim off the top. When it comes to actually pruning, it's a full haircut. And that's how I think about it when I go about trying to trim or deadhead or even prune my garden. When I deadhead, I'm just sprucing up. I'm just trying to maintain the garden and make it look a little prettier. Now, it's not recommended that you prune hydrangeas because you could be pruning away, cutting away the blooms for next season. So the best thing and the safe thing to do is just to deadhead. And when we say deadhead, we mean just the blooms right here. Any blooms that may be old, worn, or tattered, or just look really ugly, like this one right here. You can even hear it. Yeah, that's right. So this is old. So this is not really going to do anything else. So what we would do, look for the first set of leaves right here. And you're just going to snip away, just like that, so easy. And you could do this for the rest of the hydrangeas you have or another plant in your garden. And take a look at these alliums, right? They were beautiful during the summer, but now just take a look at them. They don't look that good at all. Now, you can't just leave them like this for winter interest, which sometimes I do with my hydrangeas, but overall, this doesn't look that great. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to take my nice shears and make sure you sterilize your shears because you don't want to be using shears on one plant and then go to the other. Just take it and snip at the top. Now, these don't have any leaves. You could technically just cut it down. I just like to cut it right at the top. That makes it so much easier. And there it is. As simple as that. Now, another reason why I don't cut all the way to the bottom is because these stems are actually giving the plant nutrients. And another thing is, how would you tell where the plant is? If you cut it all the way down, some of these plants all look the same. So I try to keep at least one or two of these blooms so I know that this is actually an allium that's sitting here in my garden. The good thing about pruning is that it promotes growth. It's a rejuvenation for the plants. And you would cut at least a third of the plant down. If you are a little shy about cutting it down, you can cut it down at least half or a third. I would not cut any more than half of it down because you don't want to promote growth. You really want to be careful if you are in the colder state. Now, there's no science to pruning, right? There is no right or wrong way to prune. It just depends on how you feel about how much you want to take down. So again, I take down a third. Sometimes you can take down a half. But right now, I'm going to be very conservative. I'm going to take it down just a tad. And you want to get rid of all branches that may be overlapping, may be touching, because when branches rub, that's really bad for the plant. So you want to look for any branches that are weak or spindly, that may not be good. And you just want to cut and get rid of them. So I'm just taking this down, just a tip of it, maybe a third. I don't know. I was really never good at math. That's why I like gardening. It took about, let's see, right here. This would be maybe 12 inches, and this will help rejuvenate the plant. So what about roses? Should you deadhead or prune? Well, you're taking a look at my roses, and of course, they don't look that good. I would not deadhead my roses. I would just leave them and let them be. Why? Because at one point, I can admit I was a greedy gardener I kept deadheading this rose bush until the winter. And what I noticed when I deadheaded, the next time the spring came, there was less blooms. So that meant that it kept giving me the energy. It kept giving out all that energy because I was deadheading it. Because you can see right here, you can see there's hardly any roses. And this is 3 years of deadheading in a row, and now I don't have as much roses as I had before. So now I'm gonna have to start all over again and try to get this rose bush back. I'm not saying that this is going to happen to your rose bush, but I'm saying it happened to my rose bush. You may want to take that hard lesson that I learned and not deadhead and continue to deadhead your roses during the fall and winter months. Most people look at this and say, oh my God, I gotta trim this down. No, because right here, you see, these are little buds forming. And this, again, remember when we talked about old wood? This grows on old wood. So if your hydrangea looks like this, but you have green leaves, it's still very viable. And if you can see right here, right? You would not notice that. But think about it. If you cut this right here, this right there, that bud right there would be gone. So that's another reason why you should not be cutting or pruning your hydrangeas. I'm going to be honest, this hydrangea looks like a hot mess. You know, that's what happens when you don't water and you forget to water. But again, this hydrangea is still alive. Why? Because it has green leaves. And it can't be all that bad because guess what? It's pushing out some buds. That's why you should really try to avoid pruning your hydrangeas. And that's the number one reason why hydrangeas don't bloom, because people just go ham and they just want to just cut it all the way back. And then you're cutting away these precious, precious, beautiful blooms right there. If you want to tidy up your hydrangea, whether it's in a pot or in your garden, remember, just go to the first set of leaves, which is right here, and just clip it off right there, just like that. And guys, you're looking at my limelight hydrangea in my garden. And yes, it is almost that time of year when all of these beautiful blooms will go brown and look just like that. I like to leave my hydrangea blooms all during the winter. Sometimes it has just a beautiful winter interest, and it's a little nicer than just leaving bare plants in your garden. Now, mums is all the rage, guys. Mums, we can't go without mums. They are beautiful plants. In this video, upcoming video, I have how to take care of these beautiful plants and how to get them to come back year after year. So why don't you stop and watch that next video, because you're going to want to keep those mums for next year. And I have lots of secrets on how to keep them blooming season after season. Keep on watching.